Welcome, my brethren, to our message of today. And I would like to share a message that a friend of mine has shared with me. And I think this message has got so much value in my life, and I believe it's going to have value in your life. And one of the messages or the question that he posed, which I'm going to take as a title for this message, was, have you understood the message of the cross? Have we understood the whole message of the cross? What it means, what it is. Is it about just knowing or carrying the cross on the necklace, or having a cross picture or portrait in our house? It goes beyond that. The true message of the cross, it is also highlighted in Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. That is a fact of life. The wonder of the message found in the Bible is that God has a love so profound that he has made a way to rescue sinners from the penalty due to every sin that a sinner commits. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And it continues to verse 17. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that he would, through him, might be saved. In other words, we can find forgiveness for our sins as we turn from them and accept that Jesus took our place, our sin, and died in our place on the cross at Calvary. This fact is represented in its simplicity by the story of the thief on the cross, who both recognized his own guilty and the power which Jesus had to save a repentant thief. The depth of meaning is beautifully illustrated by the following passage taken from the book by Maleshenko and McLarty. Stand at the cross and be changed. What is the message for us in this story? Just this: Jesus can take the totality of your life and my life and recycle it into a treasure. In recycling, one of the most crucial steps is separation. That is according to human recycling. Not everything can be recycled. Some things like paint containers are irredeemable trash. They are only fit for landfill or incinerators. Same applies even in water recycling, our sewer water recycling. It is the liquids that are taken for water treatment. There must be separation. Without separation at some point, earthly recycling does not work. In God's recycling operation, however, separation is not the key. There are no people nor any part of a person's life that God cannot recycle except a character that he cannot deny. Starting with our lives as they are, including the most bizarre and useless elements of our personalities and histories, God can create tapestry of remarkable beauty and utility. The only thing that God does not recycle are what we refuse to put in the bin. On Golgotha that afternoon, Jesus, the great recycler, transformed a brigand into a friend of God and a model of grace. But Jesus did more than just make a friend. The Son of God did more than save a man from hell, more than make a saint of a reprobate. He gave back to a thief in the entirety of his life as something he could keep for eternity. When the thief first yielded to Jesus, he must have been swamped with remorse. His entire life seemed waste, mistakes, bad choices, futile rebellion, harmful acts. He would have been delighted for God to simply erase his whole life from the heavenly recordings. But his desire for oblivion was contradicted by his friendship with Jesus. Which episode in his life could be omitted and still end up meeting Jesus and become his friend? That friendship now comprised the supreme value in his life. The worth of everything was measured by its impact on that friendship. His most recent arrest, which had led directly to crucifixion, had brought him here to Golgotha to meet Jesus. The thief's gravest mistake, the wrongdoing led directly and inescapable to his death, also brought him face to face with Jesus. Not for anything would he undo that. Did God intend for this young man to steal and die? No, absolutely not. But over and over, the Bible tells of God's taking not just people's best efforts, but their greatest blunder and even their greatest sins, and weaving those disasters back into his plan. We can take example of Saul, who became Paul. And he does it in such a masterful way that, looking back from the viewpoint of eternity, it will appear that God planned and orchestrated it all. Even while sinners are hard at work rebellion against him, God's working in their foolishness to accomplish his beneficent purpose. God's goodness shames us. We hate the damage our wrongdoing has done to people and the disgrace it has brought on God. But when we see what God has made of our lives, we cannot hate ourselves without somehow denigrating him. Have you made a mess of your life? Have you ruined God's plan for your life? Gotten into an unwise marriage, contracted AIDS, alienated your children, allowed an illicit sexual union to invade your life? Have you neglected your spiritual life or broken your connection with God or with his church? Have you gone so far away from God's ideal for your life that nothing can be done? Don't you believe it? God's plan for your life always begins exactly where you are right now. God is eager to receive you if you will give him your life in its entirety. Mistakes, sins, and good times alike, he will review it so that he can reweave that the perspective of eternity. It will appear to have been wholly under his sovereign direction. Even if you are nailed to the cross that you have fully earned, like the thief, God is not made helpless. Even if you have deliberately caused the difficulties that now stand between you and God, God will make a way for you to walk again in his company, a way that begins in your present situation. And he will make a way in every situation. You'll make a way. God is eager for us to pray the thief's prayer. Lord, remember me. Prayer. Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. If we will cry for that kind of help, we are assured of God's response. I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise.